Good morning, everyone. This is Allison from Happily Homeless is Moonstruck. Again, and already. And God, what time is it? It's like 8:30 in the morning here at Opera in the Ozarks. And as you can see, I'm already hot and sweaty. I've been out actually just for half an hour, starting to water all the plants before the heat of the day hits. And as I was doing that, this is, of course, vitally important, and so the entire world is going to be tuned in on this, because what a thought. So here's the thing, my perspective has been shifting, not about the grief or anything else. You know, that's what it is, right? The love and the grief, they coexist, and the loneliness, all of that's, it's absolutely still there. It's part of me. So, God, I'm sweaty. But here's where my perspective has shifted, and it has shifted because of being being here at the opera camp, the talent I've seen, the way that the people that I've talked to, and the way that they look at things from their artist point of view, so to speak. You know, having created theater and performed and all of that, and so it's kind of my mind is starting to think that way too, looking at what is in front of me, and seeing, kind of just tweaking the perspective, maybe, is what it is. And I've always been that way a little bit, but this place has fine-tuned it. And oftentimes in life, you know, we see what's right in front of us, and that's what we see, and we bring our thoughts, our thought patterns, and our social constructs from our upbringing and our environment to whatever we're looking at, which is, of course, that's how it happens, right? But as adults, we also have to start thinking, well, do I think this because I truly believe it? Or is this just because of how I was raised and I never really thought consciously or critically about it? That holds true for a lot of things, and certainly as Chuck and I were traveling, I started shedding a lot of that, as did Chuck. You know, does this serve me? Does this thinking serve me? So, and it all comes together, all of what I'm saying here. So being at the opera camp, looking at all of the talent and the creativity around me has started me thinking more, and then considering when I'm, you know, I think constantly now about this performance art that I want to do, this one-woman show. It's on my mind day and night as I'm thinking about shifting perspectives and looking at it critically from different angles that I never considered before. And an example of that is when I was talking with Jay the other evening, and she was looking at the slideshow that I'd used when I did a presentation in New Jersey, which was a great slideshow, and I was very pleased with the outcome. But everything that I do is always fluid. You know, there's always room for tweaking, for changing, for shifting. And so I have a collage, and many of you have seen it on my Happily Homeless Facebook page. It's a collage of me and Chuck through the years, and all of them were, I think pretty much all of them were kissing. And so it was really just, it was fascinating to me. Jay looked at those, and she said, so for the show that I'm going to do, she said, use this one, this one, this one. The rest of them are beautiful, but you don't need them. She said that she just helped me see the shift in perspective. She said, that one is about his love for you. This one is about your love for him. This one is about the two of you together. I never looked at them like that. I just thought, all of this reflects love, right? Oh, good morning, Monique. Good morning, Janice. And I never looked at them that way. But like I was like actively, I was the one who was kissing him. The other one, he was kissing me. One of them, my face was turned up to his, and I was looking at him, and it reflected me, and it showed my face. So anyways, when Jay said that, was pointing those things out to me, it just shifted things in me. And I thought, oh, wait a minute, you know, one more thing I've learned. And I've always looked at, you know, the way that I upcycle clothes, you know, and I'm not afraid to cut into even good clothes anymore and just change something about them, even though I don't sew except in like a straight line with a needle and thread. But to take trim from this and add it onto that, to cut here, to make it a different angle, I'm not afraid to do all of that. So I see something more, I look at something and I see what it could be rather than what it is. Good morning, Stacy. Not that, and none of that's unusual. Lots of people do it. But I'm just bringing this all together. So when I was watering the flowers this morning out in the front, I started thinking about the part that I want to do about when I'm first standing on stage and I'm going to be wearing just a leotard, all black and bare feet. And what that will represent is, this is what grief does to you. It strips you naked. It makes you vulnerable. Okay, and we all know that. But then the thought that occurred to me this morning in considering that was the way that oftentimes grief is perceived and the messages that are delivered is that, and this is all well-meaning, and believe me, everybody has their own experience of it. That's the thing. It is everybody's own experience. Here's what what shifted this morning in me is that we're told that grief reveals who you are, right? It strips away everything, and then you suddenly, I don't know, you can become compassionate, and you can become more knowing, you can become more conscious. Supposedly all these great things happen. And that might be true for many people, for some people. I think it's bullshit. I mean, for me, I was already compassionate, I was already kind, I was already many of those things. Chuck didn't have to die so that I could become those things and suddenly have all of this great stuff revealed to me. I was always that way by nature, by personality, and I'm still that way. It strips you down and makes you naked. That's what grief does. And then what happens? Good morning, Stacy. But then that's very passive, right? It's something that is done to us. It strips us naked. Here's the thing, this FWG persona that I have created, that I step into each day, this fucking warrior goddess, that is it was my way of dealing with all of this, my coping. It was a tool that I created, that I use, that I employ. That is something active that I'm doing. What I think happens when you are stripped naked, when you are made vulnerable, is that you go out and seek the tools that you have to have to get through it. You take all the grief right along with you, of course, every minute of every day, but you just figure out as best you can what it is that you can add to your life. Believe me, it's not a gift. It is not a gift. At least I don't see it that way. It's a coping tool. So you just go out and you find whatever you need to do to help you get through this in the best way that you can at the end of the day, so you're still, I don't know, somewhat sane. And so what I'm going to do in my performance, as I'm standing there all in black, it's like I said, I will start adding various color to the black until I finally present myself. Good morning, Elaine. Until I finally present myself in the end as a fucking warrior goddess that I am. And I just had never really thought of it before. It had always been kind of a passive thing, and the perception was, okay, well, this happened, and so this is what you do. But really, it's an active choosing. And for some people, I suppose it does suddenly make them better people, and they think, oh, I shouldn't have taken him for granted, or I shouldn't have taken her for granted, or, I have to be more conscious. And that's great for them, and better for our world. Me, I was already that way, and so I have had to find the fierceness to be able to deal with this, to cope with it, to manage it to whatever degree I'm doing on any given day. And that's That shifts continually also. And so anyways, I was thinking of all of that in context of my one-woman show that I'm going to do, that I'm continually creating. So I have my notebook ready with me, and I take it with me in my golf cart for the day for new ideas to consider. And I know that some of you reposted my video from yesterday, and I thank you for it. And I don't know why, Elaine, but it had never occurred to me that Ford has a Facebook page. Duh, but of course they do. And I thank you for posting the video on that. I've decided that because of that, it started me thinking again. I mean, believe me, everything all of you say, I think about, and it springboards me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a live feed with a message specifically for Ford. I'll do that later today or tomorrow or something. And I will ask all of you to post that too, to the Ford page, and I'll make it specific about, okay, this truck with the hitch and the color pink and all of that. And I'm just going to barrage them. All of us will barrage them. So that was a great idea. And I'm going to run with that, and I'm going to ask all of you to run with me with that. So no great revelations or anything necessarily this morning. This is not earth-shattering, world-shattering. It will not change everything or anything. Good morning, Mark. But it did shift something in me. It's what I used to say about when I would facilitate the grief support groups that I did. We do an exercise called surrender. Accept. The difference between the words accept, surrender, and embrace. And, we all talk, we always hear about, oh, you have to accept it in reference to death. And, so you accept it. But for me, it's actually not been so much about accepting the death because, death happened. Obviously, he's dead. I was there, all of this other stuff. But I think acceptance for me has more to do with accepting that life is irrevocably changed. It will never be the same again. It will always, the love and grief will always be the two things existing in me, which works with my Gemini personality anyways, right? It's the twins. So that's really what more the word acceptance, the way that I see it. And then we talked about the word surrender, which is kind of an active passive. And I think there's something like that in English grammar. I never did well in English grammar in school, but there's an active passive or a passive active passive verb or something. So anyways, if there isn't, there should be, because that's what the word surrender means to me. And then there's the word embrace, which is a very, it's an active thing to do. It's like knowingly and consciously going forward and into. And I believe that's what I've done with all of this since Chuck died, is I've gone out into it. I've driven into it, for people who said, oh, well, you're just on this, you're gallivanting around the country and you're on this great vacation and how wonderful and what an adventure. My former best friend said that, actually. Good morning, Linda. She and her boyfriend they were two of the people who said, I've been gallivanting around the country for so long. And it's like, fuck you. Here I've been gallivanting, having this great adventure with my husband's cremains, riding shotgun and his flag from his memorial service. So yeah, gallivanting. And it's like, how can anybody, especially somebody who presumably knew me so well, so miss the fucking point of who I am and what I'm about and what this odyssey is? And so there have been a few people like that and who have said those things. And because the point is, I have been driving headlong into all of this since I got in the car the few weeks after Chuck died. I've driven right into it, and I continue to do it. And now the further part of there's a different word other than embrace. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go headlong into this one-woman show, creating it, getting it produced, and performing it. And I'm knowingly taking on and adding on, okay, this is what I'm going to bring into my life. This is what I'm going to bring into my life because it is fucking necessary. Mark, have a good meeting. It's fucking necessary. And so Janice. Good morning, Laura. Janice. Oh, Janice, I love that. This this is already the motto for that Ford can use when I represent them with commercials with my pink car or my pink truck and my pink trailer all around at wonderful, beautiful landmarks around the country. The FWG is Ford Tough. How powerful that will be for them to get to the female market, don't you think? Janice, man, all credit to you on that one. I love it. The FWG is Ford Tough. Can I borrow that? I hope I can use that. I'll give you credit for it. I like it. This FWG is Ford Tough. So there we go. You know, you people are amazing, especially at this hour of the morning. So all of you, can I tell you how much you inspire me? Every time I do a live feed, and it took me a while to get to the point where it was automatic to do a live feed, but I really, really like them, and I like the interaction that we get. And once I started the first one, I really look forward to doing these because the interaction is so current, and we're just going back and forth with the energy. Wow, technology. I love it more than I hate it. I only hate it when things go wrong with it, but I love an awful lot about it. All of you are wonderful. So keep the ideas coming for me. I will credit all of you, and I feel like I have this huge meeting going on around the country. It's as if we are sitting around a table, all of us, and we're brainstorming, and we are fine-tuning as we're brainstorming, and the focus is narrowing and narrowing into exactly what it's going to need to be. Good morning, Brenda. And it's one of those production meetings that is really, you come out of it thinking, that was a good meeting, rather than saying, wow, I really should have been doing some work while that bullshit was going on. Because so many meetings are just wasted breath. Good morning, Gloria. But I feel with all of you, especially since yesterday, we are all sitting around this huge table, and we are brainstorming the fuck out of this to make it happen. Because all of you know that this is something that it's more than possible. And you know that I'm the one who can do it. I can carry it out. I can carry it through. And I can be a representative for so many people. And I'm willing to take on that responsibility and that cloak and carry it. Carry it for widows and widowers, and just for anybody, for women for men and women both who are just feeling like, I can't do it anymore. I can't do the one more step. And maybe, maybe this person, this woman, because she's, I've watched her, I've seen her, and she's getting out there and kicking ass and doing it all in the name of love, and she is doing it, and she's making a difference, and she's doing it. And maybe I can now get up this morning and just do one thing, because that's all that it's about, is just doing that one thing. And I've got 4 years, and I'm in my 3rd month now since Chuck died, and by year 5, by the time I hit year 5, I want this to be well on its way. So we need to get cracking, and I'm like I said yesterday, I am willing to do all the footwork that is necessary. I will do every damn thing I can, and I've got the ideas. We have the ideas. And so now we're looking for real tangibles, names and people and emails and real specifics. And so that's what this meeting has been about. And Gloria, I get it. Stumbling, it's okay. You know what? When you can't walk and you stumble and you fall, then you crawl. All that it's about, it's not about moving on. It's not about moving forward. It's not about going in any direction, really. It's just about moving. You just need to keep moving. And that's all I do. You just keep moving, keep those feet moving, and crawl if you need to, Gloria. It's okay. And You know, we're all there, right there with you. We are right there with you. So just find that one thing that you're going to do in the next hour. One thing, even if it's fucking brushing your teeth. That's all that you need to do. And you could do it while you're sobbing and crying. You know, you don't have to stop crying before you brush your teeth, or stop crying or feeling grief or missing your husband before you go out and, I don't know, open the door. Just open the fucking door to the outside world. Yeah, it's one step, one heartbeat at a time. One step, one heartbeat. You don't have to do huge things. Everything that I do, it's small steps. It's little pieces. Chuck used to say, how do you eat an elephant? And it's one bite at a time. And I swear to God, the only way I'm doing this is because of the community I've built. You have to talk and make yourself vulnerable. And there's going to be people who are going to beat you down and say, well, you need to be doing this, or you should be doing that, or you should be over it, or you got to move on. You know, just with all the love in your heart, tell them to fuck off. It's like the better not bitter widower, better not bitter widower said, the only response you need to say to people who are telling you how you need to do this, or why you're not doing it right, or it's too mixed up and you need to be this way or that way, you tell them, is your husband 6 feet under? Is your wife a pile of ashes? No? Then shut up. My preferred method is fuck off, but you know, however you need to say it. And you say it with love. You don't have to say it with anger. And you just do it one tiny, tiny bit at a time. Everything that I do is little steps. It's little steps. Now that I'm thinking of this performance art, it's gotten bigger. The steps have gotten bigger, logistically, but emotionally, I am absolutely just doing this one tiny step at a time, one breath, one heartbeat. And thanks for reminding me of that, Elaine, because that's important for all of us to remember, no matter what the death is in our life. You know, our husbands, our wives, our lovers, our moms, our dads, whoever it might be that we loved when our person has died. It's one step, one heartbeat. So Gloria, you keep that in mind, all right? And I'm right here with you. So it's always about, you know how the Lone Ranger, he'd say, "Hi-oh, Silver, away." I remember listening to him on Radio Free Europe when I was a kid in Germany, living in Germany, when my dad was stationed there. And I'd listen to the Lone Ranger on the radio. And yes, I'm 59 years old. That dates me. And he'd always say, "Hi-oh, Silver, away." Well, mine, to people who are thinking that they need to tell me how I need to be, how I need to do this, where I need to be, any of that about this grief about my beloved husband dying, it's a hearty, instead of a hearty "Hi-oh, Silver," it's a hearty "fuck you. I love you now. Fuck off." And thank you. So there you go. Feel free to use my words also if you wish, but always do it from a place of love, because you know what? We just need to let people go, or if we don't want to let the people go, and we don't always need to, then we just need to. We don't need to. You can do whatever you damn well want. It can be helpful for us to just let their words go. And if they persist, just very lovingly say, you know, bite me, fuck off, "Hi-oh, Silver, away I go." I don't know, whatever it might be. But I always try to do it from a place of love rather than anger, because anger keeps me connected to what they're doing, the ugliness, if it's actually ugly words or ugly actions, and I've had to deal with that. I don't want to be connected to that in any way. Good morning, Diane. I don't want to be connected to that. I don't want to carry that. I'm carrying enough as it is. I'm carrying all of this, Chuck's death and the loneliness. I don't need to carry their bullshit. So I let it go. I let the words go as often as possible with a hearty "fuck off, I love you." And then I just choose when and if and where I'm going to be around them again to have to hear that. So with all of those great words of wisdom, I'm going to go ahead and get back to the lovely flowers that are screaming for me to water them and give them a drink. So, and get my day started and go back out there and sweat again now that I've, good morning, Carol, now that I've cooled down a little bit. So, thank you again to all of you. This has been a great meeting. I actually got a few things from it, and I'll look through all the comments again. And then I will do a live feed later on today or tomorrow that will be specifically to Ford for having them sponsor me with a 6-cylinder pickup truck that they will paint in my custom shade of pink for me, and also put a trailer hitch on that will go with my tab trailer so that I can tow it. And then I will go around the country and I will do commercials for them, and it'll be a serial commercialization where they will tell the story about how this FWG is Ford tough. So to all of you, just have a magical day, and thank you for the magic that you bring into my life on a daily basis, moment by moment. All right, I love all of you. Ti amo.